Let's do a little channel surfing.
I'm John. I'm a huge fan of the tiny house movement that's exploding across the nation.
Survey says what?
Survey says what?
The reserve faces a housing crisis. At the start of the term of the chief and council, there were 418 homes housing about 2,800 members. In the last 3.5 years, 105 homes have been built, and a total of 150 are expected to be done by the end of the current council's term.
What's up, Doc?
The FSIN has shaken hands with a company that could offer options to the housing and employment struggle on reserves. Your Choice Homes recently held a pilot project with the Yorkton Tribal Council, and it taught trade skills to 13 students from 6 different First Nations.
It's about investing in our youth at a time where we've dealt with serious youth tragedies and crises in our province. This is a perfect opportunity.
Aside from the partnerships and what we want to eventually do, we have 13 really amazing kids that went through this project that are doing so well. If you read the Facebook follows, their moms are proud of them, their dads are proud of them.
I'm going to do a big jump off. Ah!
Hi, I'm Jay. I'm with YC Homes, also known as Your Choice Homes. And in this case, the choice is education and training. I want to take a second and define to you tiny home. Like the series is cancelled, I feel the need to come clean and let you know that we've allowed the media to call us a tiny home builder, but that is not what we are. A tiny home is on wheels. A tiny home is 400 square feet or less. A tiny home is a 2x4 construction. A tiny home is not mortgageable, not insurable. A tiny home is also part of the minimalist movement, which means that you're maximizing on your friends or family for their power and utilities. So from this day forward, we will censor and correct anybody who calls us a tiny home builder.
This bee eater works the crowd, but whenever he's ready to make a move, it seems someone else shows up.
The Piikani First Nation is looking at
single adult living
as a way to help deal with the housing crisis on the reserve.
It may interest you to know there aren't many fights in the NHL anymore.
It's just a single adult living,
but it may be part of the fix for some much bigger problem.
We created a style of education which brings the classroom to the job site. After engaging many First Nation professionals, elders, and leaders, we came up with Housing Through Education, which brings training and certification and education to the build. We believe in turning blueprints into curriculums and job sites into classroom. We maximize opportunity in these builds. We're not just a home builder for First Nations, we're much more than that. And all of us have heard in the media the housing crisis, and it's not just a local crisis, it's a national crisis. And I really thought that if the right people with the right heart took this on, might not solve it, but it could be a whole lot better. We felt the only way to get to a resolution is by asking the people that are facing disconnects what the disconnects are and what they feel the possible solution is. We team up with the community to build your program. In that, it's your blueprint, it's your community, you have the best knowledge of what you need. One of the education disconnects is the fact that there's a lack of practical art programs in First Nation communities. Some of the schools are just 6 ready to move houses. They have no facility for practical arts. But some schools have a big shop, but don't have the funding for a ticketed or certified teacher in trades. So with the need for housing in First Nation communities, what a great way to start the future contractors through the high school. This is maximizing opportunity in First Nation builds with education, training, and certification. Using the build as a backdrop for education. This program also gives confidence to the youth and empowerment. It also lets them see who they're building for. For example, this is Joyce Little Mustache in Piikani First Nation, who the students got to engage with throughout the whole build, and it gave them respect for the tenant, and it also gave them respect for a house in their community. This also gives them a lifelong memory. I run into students all the time, and one thing I always hear is, remember when we built that house? Imagine that every year, one of the classes contributed a house to the community, how everything would evolve when it comes to respect for housing and pride in community. Running parallel to exposing students to all the career options that comes with residential home construction.
I could build a house if I wanted. Sure.